So this is Margot Cicerelli's system. She's a multiple world champion, gi and no gi. The thing I like about the Underhook De La Riva is just the control that you have. And it allows you to have different pathways to other guards, in particular guards that you work between the legs as an X guard, modified X. So we'll be looking at those transitions, but we cannot go into Underhook De La Riva without just discussing the De La Riva hook. Some of you are familiar with the De La Riva guard. Obviously, as we're at Topics Lead Seminars in 2024. So let's talk about what the De La Riva hook is and what is the strengths to make a strong De La Riva hook. Probably at beginner level. Probably at beginner level, you think about the De La Riva hook as a hook which is just basically controlling Carl's lead leg. So I'm using my instep to come in. This will be classified as a shallow De La Riva hook. So it's just coming in, I'm using my instep at the back of the knee, and I've got sleeve control. And this is fine if you've got upper body grips. There are things I can do from this position. I can start to break Carl's base and then start to tilt him over his shoulder and pull myself up in the top position. I can here from feet on hip start. I can put in that shallow De La Riva hook again. From there, I can push to sit up, pass the lead between my legs, make grips, and start working ball and chain sweeps, getting into positions like that. The problem is you're not really controlling the knee, and I'm going to get Carl to demonstrate this because I have a bad knee and I don't trust him, basically. So the problem is if Carl makes a shallow De La Riva hook like this and he hasn't upper body grips, he's not really controlling the rotation of my knee. Even if he makes a grip there, I can easily turn my knee out and pop that off. And again, probably from that position, because when you think about guard passing, I want to rotate my knees either outside or inside. So if I was going for like a split pass type of position, I would be turning, I would be receding my leg back, because it's hard for Carl to keep that hook when my leg goes straight, if that makes sense. And now really his grip isn't stopping me turning my knee out, if that makes sense. And from that position now, I can start to bring my knee close to Carl, spreading out my legs so they can't put me in half guard, putting him under pressure, and then from that position I can weave my leg to the side and come through. So really, if you're using your instep to control the rotation of his leg, it's just an impossibility, if that makes sense. So we want to be thinking about a strong De La Riva. So let's just say Carl has his right leg forward and I have no grips. If Carl's leg is straight, it's an impossibility to get a De La Riva hook in. So I need to create an angle. So from this position, I'm going to move my I'm going to move my body from being flat on my back to being on my left hip. Notice the way my hip has moved away. My right leg, my calf, is going to chop in at the back of the knee, and I'm going to get a bend in Carl's leg, and then I'm going to make a U with my leg. So as my foot chops in, my foot's coming underneath, and I'm actually going to put my foot, it looks as if I'm putting it in his nuts, right? But I'm actually just inside his thigh here. And that's a lot stronger, if that makes sense. Okay? Another problem with the De La Riva hook is when you're playing it shallow, even if I have grips, if I just chop in the hook and I make it shallow like this, notice the massive space here. I have no connection with Carl. Okay? I need to make sure to have a strong De La Riva hook that I fill the space at the back of my knee against his knee. So if we think about when we just chop in, so for this drill we're just going to focus on making a strong hook. I'm going to move my hip, I'm going to move from front of my back onto my hip to create an angle. I'm going to chop my leg in from the outside at that angle, and I'm focusing on making the connection of the back of my knee to the outside of car's knee. You notice the way I'm knee to knee at this stage. And from there, when I chop that in, I'm starting to get that bend that I want. And then I just reshape my foot and I bring my foot inside. Okay? So now you can't really see it visually, but my knee's connected to car. I've got so much more control of his leg. Now from here, my hand comes around and I connect my body. Okay? The car's shin, and I grab my own thigh, or my own hamstring from here. So if Car tries to turn his knee out, he's probably going to damage his own knee. Okay? Now there is a bit of a weakness. He might be able to turn this way, and this is why we're going to go into the underhook de la Riva, which stops the inside space. So let's just stay at that angle there, bro. So we're here. So if you think anytime you're playing guard, okay, there's outside space and inside space. I need to control the rotation of Car's knee, turning outwards and turning inwards. The de la Riva hook is super cool at stopping, controlling the outside space. Car can't turn his knee that way. So from our position, we have no grips at all. Car's straightening his legs. This is really an impossibility for me to get a hook in. I'm putting my foot on the mat, just a drill, turning onto my left hip, and I'm going to be chopping that leg in at an angle to get the bend of his knee. Now, it's not advantageous to overextend, if that makes sense. So in other words, I don't want to chop it in to the point that Car's knee turns and he can walk away. So my right hand's going to act as a buffer. So as I chop it in, it's kind of going to control, so Car can't over-rotate. And the detail is, from there, I am knee to knee. The back of my knee has filled that space. And now I make that shape, and I'm curling this in, making a U. And now my foot is coming right up high. You should be able to see your big toe from here. I have much more connection with this hook, but now I need to use a little bit more control with my arm. So now my left arm comes around, and I'm going to connect my body to Car's right leg. My hand makes a grip here. Now I've got a free leg and a free hand to start playing the game from this position. If Car tries to turn his knee out, that's the detail. I'm connected. Even if he tries to walk this way and put his leg out, the only thing he can do is turn. And if he turns, that's going to give him things that I want. Now we're baiting him into making certain reactions when you're playing de la Riva guard. So if he's turning away and trying to pull his knee out, that can give you options to get back. So for the drill, the person's going to stand in front of you, right leg forward, and their leg is straight. You're going to be flat on your back. Okay? I'm going to plant my foot on the mat. I'm going to move my hip, so I'm on my left hip, and the goal is now I'm chopping this leg in. Okay? I don't want a de la Riva hook where I can't see my big toe and there's massive space here. A lot of the time you're here, and then Car reaches down between your leg and strips my hip. So we're going to make sure that there is no space there. So right foot plants, the left turns me onto my hip. I'm chopping this in. My right hand just makes sure he doesn't over-rotate. This chops in, there's connection, back of my knee to the outside of his knee, and I'm knee to knee at this stage. And now I make that ladder. Also, if you notice, if Car's leg is straight, the chopping in puts that bend in. The right hand stops it over-rotating, and then I just bring in my hook. I'm really pushing my big toe into his right hip. Okay, so we've got the hook in, we've got connection, we have much more control of the outside space. Not as much on the inside, but we'll talk about that in the next move. And then, instead of just grabbing his heel, which a lot of you guys be doing, I'm going to go elbow deep. Okay? Grab my own hamstring from here. Car's going to try and turn his knee out. It's going to be difficult. He can turn that way, which again will give me the back. That's what he chooses to do. I'm intentionally not showing you anything else from here. We want to concentrate on getting a strong de la Riva hook and thinking about connection. Because once you start adding in sweeps and stuff, you just want to do the sweep.